On October 17, 2021, 39-year-old Heidi Planck walked out of her $1.7 million rented townhouse and into her Range Rover, along with her dog. This would be the final moment anyone sees her alive. Mysteriously, the single mother from Los Angeles vanished into thin air, leaving behind a distraught 11-year-old son named Bond and her ex-husband, Jim Wayne. On this day, she had abruptly left her son's football game in Downey before it was even over, and friends and families recalled her looking angsty and edgy. Almost immediately, the case made headlines and prompted officials to conduct a search. The search was intense and included searching the landfills as they suspected foul play. At one point, an entire SWAT team even bursted into Heidi's townhouse, armed. All attempts led to absolutely nothing. Heidi's ex-husband had some words to say following these initial searches, vocalizing that there is without a doubt someone out there in the world who knows exactly what happened to Heidi Planck. With that, he also added that he really couldn't imagine that there was anyone that wanted to harm her, but later insinuated foul play when he said, quote, "something's dirty here," end quote. From the SWAT raid, officers noted that there was forensic evidence found by detectives that implied possible foul play. What exactly they discovered was not released yet to the public. Two pertinent pieces of evidence then surfaced. A surveillance video that spans only a couple of seconds was retrieved, and in this footage, Heidi is seen walking with her dog in downtown LA behind a large building. 30 minutes after the discovery of this video, her dog was found wandering around inside that same exact building. It is important to note that this is also a highly secure structure, meaning whoever enters really has to have a reason to enter. According to her ex-husband, Wayne, Heidi had no connection to this building whatsoever, and he found it awfully bewildering that the owners of this gigantic property were not initially cooperative about handing over security footage. Even more alarming was the fact that her silver vehicle was nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, both her phone and her laptop were inside her townhouse. Wayne elaborated his foul play speculation, claiming that Heidi's disappearance had to revolve around work because out of nowhere, he started to receive a call from an official from the Securities of Exchange Commission inquiring if he knew anything about Josh Sugarman, who was her boss. Now, when we delve deeper into the entire work situation, there are details that are indeed eye-opening, albeit not necessarily directly related to Heidi's disappearance. According to Heidi's LinkedIn and Facebook profiles, she was working as an executive assistant for a company known as Camden Capital Partners, LLC, and soon rose up the ranks, becoming a financial controller. This particular company had undergone a major fraud investigation on executive Josh Sugarman and his business partner for implementing a scheme to steal $43 million from their clients, where Sugarman was able to obtain $9 million in cash. His business associate pled guilty and received 15 years of prison, and Sugarman himself is now indicted. Friends and family of Heidi's recalled her complaining to them about how her boss placed her name on so much of the paperwork, and according to the public records search, Heidi is listed as the only employee in the company. When Heidi disappeared, Wayne tried to call Sugarman to obtain any information, but instead he was always directed to an assistant that just kept asking for her work laptop back, though Wayne had already given that to the FBI. According to the assistant, Sugarman said there was a lot of sensitive information on that laptop, but what really tipped Wayne off was when the assistant said that Sugarman believed Heidi ran off with the money. Wayne considered this claim to be complete hogwash. Aside from her shady and clearly unempathetic boss, Heidi's current boyfriend Naeem Salam has been starting to attract attention. On the day Heidi had disappeared, she texted Naeem that she was scared, but a week prior to this, the couple had been arguing. So Naeem claims that he took her disappearance as her ghosting him. Their argument revolved around Heidi wanting Naeem to come to where she was, but because he had to work in San Francisco, he could not. Wayne highly doubts Naeem had anything to do with her disappearance, even further describing him as a great guy and that he has no worries about him. Perhaps the most intriguing part of this case is when we consider Heidi individually. According to family court documents, one can see that her life was ridden with drug abuse and other psychological issues. After her divorce from Wayne, one of the main reasons in their battle for child custody was over Heidi's drug abuse, with Wayne stating in a document that he, quote, needs to be aware of her conduct and try to be aware of when and if she is using them, end quote. Due to this, the two of them ended up sharing custody. There was even an instance in 2015 where Wayne described that she had a complete psychological breakdown. In this specific moment, while he was in the car with her and their son, he noticed that she had become both pale and disorientated, telling Wayne that she can't be in there because it was too intense. When they arrived at her house, she entered inside immediately and called Wayne to take them back to his house, sounding extremely distressed. When he arrived back, he thought she was intoxicated because she was standing outside the house offering him a plate of bacon. When he took both her and his son to his place, his son screamed, "Dad, you have to come see my room. Mom made a mess." Inside, the room was completely obliterated and ransacked, and Heidi had squeezed out of the boy's window. Neighbors reported her to the police, observing that she was climbing on top of the roofs and over fences. Once the authorities arrived, they found her switching an electric circuit on and off, and soon she admitted herself into a psychiatric hospital, only to then call Wayne the next day begging him to pick her up. In one moment, she even once asked him why she had a C-section and said that they had no children. As soon as she started her most recent job in 2017, her behavior, according to friends and family, was much more stabilized, and she was doing financially really well, having been able to afford the lavish lifestyle she was living. Heidi's whereabouts are still not known to this day, and although authorities have not explicitly stated to the public what they suspected was foul play inside the house, they have implied that it is a possibility. Just given the vague circumstances surrounding the case, the shady company she was part of, and her history with psychological issues, it is not very clear who or what we can point fingers at. Yes, the business she worked at was completely fraudulent and not even that concerned with her disappearance or her well-being. But does that automatically mean they had something to do with her vanishing? I mean, she was climbing up the ranks and even taking part in one of the major roles in the company, so I'm not sure how anyone in that company would benefit with her being gone. In my opinion, her mental health history is quite noteworthy because the accounts from her direct family show instances of her lacking self-awareness. To dismiss this would be seemingly leaving out a whole chapter to the story. By the same token, those who knew her claim that she was certainly not the type to just leave her son like that. Her ex-husband Wayne has also been a key player in the investigation, even helping the FBI by handing over devices and going out of his way to investigate others. So I doubt he had anything to do with the disappearance of his son's mother. I mean, what would he gain? He had separated from her a while ago and still had shared custody of their child. The fact that he knew her most recent partner and was on good terms with him shows that he most likely was on good terms with Heidi herself. In terms of her recent partner Naeem, I honestly really do believe his obliviousness to this all. Given how much he prioritized work, I don't think he would go out of his way to do something malicious. To be frank, from all that we know, we really only can speculate at this point, especially since not all of the evidence was released to the public yet. We can't tell for certain what exactly she was scared of in that text to her boyfriend. And why was her dog found in that secure building? Did it sneak in there or did something else happen there? I really hope that she is alive and not in danger, as her son and those who are close to her are deeply affected by this. To some degree, this case has affected a lot of people because here we have a local single mother who just vanished in thin air. Like the saying goes, people do not just disappear. I'm really curious what you guys believe happened to Heidi, just given all that we were provided. So please put your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm also present on social media, linked in my description, so feel free to follow me on those as well. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe for more interesting content.